I'm just lowering the phone. Okay, now I think it works. So hi everyone. Can you see me okay on Instagram too? All right, I
Yeah.
think so. All right, so hey everyone. So I am an English teacher. Let me tell you guys a little bit about myself. I actually grew up in the United States. I moved to the United States when I was 11 years old. Portuguese is my native language, but nowadays I think I speak more English than Portuguese. So I'm kind of like, where do I look? But anyway, so I, so, um, so I moved to Brazil last year, and it's my first time living in Brazil as an adult because I left as a child and never lived here again. So it's been quite an experience, and I've been teaching since I was 16 years old, and I'm 43 now. So you do the math; it's been a long time. I actually started because a lot of my parents' friends they didn't speak English, so I would help them, work on different, things for them to work, for them to join, the community. And so I started teaching then. I left teaching for a little while because I was doing more training and focus more in the corporate America. I worked for a big company that also had clients like MasterCard and Apple. So for the past 7 years, I was operations manager of a call center for Apple customers. So that was fun. I learned a lot. So I continued training, but not so much teaching English. So once I moved here, I went back to it because I saw the need. I saw that there was an opportunity for us to become a nation where English wasn't only focused on only 5% of the nation, right? I think more people should learn English, more people should understand it, and that opens opportunities because the company I worked for, we they would go to different nations and actually open call centers in nations that had English not as the official language, but that spoke English like Colombia, Costa Rica, Philippines, India, all those countries, English is not official, but they speak English. So that's what I think we can do for Brazil is to really open opportunities that right now we don't have available for us. So sorry, I think I talked a little bit too much.
No, that was awesome. It's good to know your background and understand where you come from and what you've done so far. How about your family? You said you helped your parents. How was that helping? Explain a little bit more.
So my parents they lived in the United States for many many years, and they never really spoke English fluently. So
Really?
at 11 years old, I was having to call to get water for the house, electricity, pay bills, and help them in everything. And back then, it was like 1989 when we moved. The Brazilian community was smaller, so we lived in a town where it was mostly Americans. So everything that needed to be taken care of the house, guess who went? I was the interpreter, I was the translator. I've even watched the C-section because
Oh
the lady didn't
goodness.
speak English and she preferred me to translate for her over her husband. So, yeah, I've had
Oh
some weird experiences as a child of immigrants in the United States. So,
yeah. I think a lot of child from immigrants, they go through that, like children from immigrants, right? They go through what you've been through because is it what happens? What do you think happened when you arrive in the United States? What is it that the children can speak English and the parents can? What is it? Is it the age thing? What do you think?
no, I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a little bit of willpower because I know plenty of adults that were able to study and learn after being adults. Like my parents would take little courses here and there, but there was no discipline, there was no method. There were two, we attended a Brazilian church, which thankfully that's how I kept most of my Portuguese, is because I had contact with the Brazilian community. So it was good in one way, but it was bad for my parents because they always had people to rely on.
Yeah.
But a lot of adults they would prepare themselves here they would actually then go to the United States and they would do great, and they would do fine. But it's totally doable. My husband's parents have the same story, but my mother-in-law, she's fluent in English, so she
Is it?
studied, she read, she did a lot of things in order to speak, and she runs a whole business in the United States because of her English. So it's
Awesome.
just really willpower and discipline. Discipline is
Yeah.
everything.
So they accommodate, you think? They they get
Yeah,
comfortable.
they they
Yeah.
just get comfortable with what is going on. They always have somebody to help them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they don't have school as well, right? Most of the parents don't
True.
have somewhere to study, so they have
Hmm.
only work and they have to do repetitive things, and it's too easy for them. Just they don't really get challenged to speak with a native and to yeah. They have always someone
Exactly.
else. Mm, that happens a
Exactly.
lot.
Very true.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
the key point, right? So you think the
Yeah.
right way to live in the United States or everywhere that speaks English as their first language would be first they study English here and then they go and they're going to have better chances of of get
Definitely.
of being a little bit, how can I say it, to get a better position in the country. What is it? But you
Yeah,
think that's
to be able
that's the
to
best
work
way?
for different things.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think studying a little bit before you go, even if it's just a basic, it already gives you a heads up on it. You will be able um, to meet people, and then you can get to the practice part. If you know the basics of English, you get there and all you have to do is really
Yeah.
practice the speaking and
Cool.
getting to know the culture versus doing it, from the start learning English there. So it's
Yeah.
a lot more helpful when people do study before they go. I see that they have a lot more chances, and they also it's easier. You make friends
Yeah.
easier. You need to speak
It's
the
easier.
language, and
Definitely.
yeah, much easier.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to our topic today. Millie,
Hmm.
what do you think um, teachers should do to improve their English, to keep learning, to never stop? What is it? What are the steps? What would you do if you were in our position as teachers that haven't had the opportunity to live as much as you have in the United States or anywhere that speaks English as their first language? What would you do if you were us?
So, there really isn't a magic pill or a method that, I can give you that is just going to magically make you a much better English speaker or know the language more. So, like I said before, discipline is a big deal when it comes to any learning experience, whether it be a language or
An instrument.
a new career, an instrument,
Yeah.
exactly, like well about the instrument. So it really does take discipline. Sometimes we don't feel the motivation, sometimes we are not motivated to do something, but we know we have to, and we have to. The practice is gonna make us better.
Definitely.
So that there's really no magic pill. So I was thinking back on how did I keep some of my Portuguese. I'm still able to communicate. I sound terrible half of the time and I don't conjugate the verbs well, but I kept some of my Portuguese, and I think that there's some things that from that experience that I could bring to the table to help you guys. So really the best way to me, the number one thing a teacher should do to improve English. And you said something really good yesterday, Liz, when we had class, that if you don't improve, you're basically walking backwards, right? You're basically going
Sure.
backwards. So improving it's key. So really it's reading. And I know a lot of
Reading.
people are like, the books and reading,
Reading, yeah.
sounds so boring.
Yeah.
But really,
Yeah.
reading is key,
Uh-huh.
and that's one of the things I wanted to share is that you reading. There's no money involved, right? Because there are so many free resources online that you can download books and you can read and you can practice. Okay, and I'm gonna talk to you guys how I do it and how I did it in Portuguese and how I continue to do it in English is, once you get a book, read what you like. Maybe it's not a book. Maybe you don't like reading a book. Maybe you want to read a news article. Maybe you want to read a magazine. Maybe you want to study business, go to The Economist or the Wall Street Journal. Just, whatever you want to read that and work with what you have. Okay. So you have to do it consistently. Do it, maybe break it down to a small step of like 3 times a day. 3 pages a day, something small. Don't try to, at the end of the month, I'm going to have 30 books that I read. No, you're never going to do that. You're going to fail before you even begin. Yeah. So, read 3 pages a day. Start with the baby steps and then you can expand it. And that way you get into the discipline, right? And the good thing about reading is that you work with different things. Vocabulary, you're going to increase your vocabulary. Pick a few words you don't understand. Look for the definition, not the translation. Look for the definition. Learn the definition. Put it into different phrases. Think about how you can use that word. Use maybe an app like Anki, which works with what's it called? Spaced repetition. Okay. Yeah. So that helps you make sure that you remember what you learned. And then at the end of the week, you have a couple words that you learned and you're increasing your vocabulary from what learning from what you read. Then there's grammar. And I think a lot of people miss an opportunity when reading to look at the grammar. The use of English in books is amazing, especially if you get a book that is written by an English speaker, not a translated version as much, because you can pick different sentences and see how to use them. Makes a huge difference. You can pick out where's the subject, where's the object, where's the noun, where's the verb, where's the adjective, where's the adverb, where's the conjunctions, and look at each of those things and dissect that phrase so that you understand the structure. Look at prepositions. I know a lot of us have issues with preposition. Is it in? Is it on? Is it at? Reading, you can see that. You can see the preposition. Google something if you're curious, if you're not sure how to use it. Change the order of the word, of the phrase. The beautiful girl came over for dinner last night, or you can put last night, the beautiful girl came over. Work with if clauses. All of that you can get from reading a book. Yeah. Your English can improve so much from reading a book. Yes. Then there's the speaking. But you're like, how can we improve speaking by reading a book? You can record yourself. Sorry.
Just a second, Millie.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to write it?
No, yeah, please.
I'm going too fast?
Because it's going to be...
Yes, I forgot it.
Yeah, it's okay.
I took... All right.
So first thing is reading at least 3 pages a day and think over what you've read and... You said dissect. Is it the word?
Dissect.
Dissect. That's nice. That's a nice word. Dissected.
The structure. Of the phrase, the sentences. Yep.
That's nice.
That way you can improve grammar. Can spell today. Improve grammar that way. Let me make it. Can you see okay? Maybe I should make it a little bit bigger.
You may.
Okay. All right. So reading 3 pages a day. And then there is the speaking part, right? So for speaking, you can record yourself. Reading, maybe read 1 page because it does get tiring to read a lot out loud. And you and I would do that a lot, right? Reading a book out loud and taking turns. Because that really works on your connected speech, your intonation. So if you record, then you can listen to it, okay? Afterwards, listen to it and see, how did I sound? Am I able to understand every word? Am I able to understand what's being said, what I said, or did I, that word, maybe that's not how you pronounce that word. You can catch your own mistakes that way. And a lot of people think, I can only improve my speaking by having someone to talk to. Not necessarily. Sometimes you can improve on your own by recording yourself. And it's a really great exercise that I wish more people would do. Because then if you, like, let's say you're thinking, my intonation sounds wrong, like I'm reading and it doesn't, like the sentences don't make sense. maybe you need to work on your intonation, or maybe you're stressing the wrong words or the wrong syllables. And the great thing nowadays is that you can Google and you can find how to work on your intonation, how to work on your connected speech. You can find different videos to look at and to watch and then implement and take little bits of little steps that you can improve your speaking. So so these, that's just like an easy way to really improve. And let me see here. I'm like
That's
looking at my
nice.
notes.
I like it.
And there's even like acting coaches out there. Like
Acting
sometimes they
coaches.
need to work on their accents. And how do you think they do it? They do it with intonation. They do it like, working on the accent with coaches. And there's many coaches out there that provide tips on how to improve this, how to talk with the
Yeah.
British accent, how to talk with an American accent. It's just little exercises that you can do, little drills that you can do in order to
Drills. Nice.
improve your speaking. Yeah,
How about
drills. Let me
shadowing?
put it.
Um,
Shadowing and imitation are also great. Yeah,
cool.
those are great to. Now I can't like move it. Uh, so shadowing, in imitation drills to work on speech. It looks a little bit funky. Sorry.
No, that's
Let
fine.
me open another text box. Okay, that way it
Funky.
makes it easier. Um, so yeah, so the reading, goes for grammar, vocabulary, speaking, and then there's the writing. I think we don't write enough in English.
Mm.
I think a lot of people struggle with the writing. From what I have seen so far, there is great struggle with the writing. So one thing that I do with some students, especially those that are preparing for tests or teachers, is really and writing has many benefits. So some of the benefits in writing is that it helps you work on your retention, your creativity, your memory. It increases your comprehension and sharpens your mind. So do a summary, like read a book, do a couple of chapters, maybe
That's
every
nice.
chapter or every couple
A
of chapters.
summary. That's
Write a
nice.
summary. What did you read?
Yeah.
Who were the characters?
Very
Where were
nice.
they at? What
Wow.
was the story? What's the conflict?
Yeah.
How did they
What did
come
you
to a
learn?
resolution? Exactly.
Yeah.
What did you learn from those things? As if you're retelling the story to someone else. So then
Very
you can like,
nice.
write it down as if you were telling someone about it.
I really
And
like this.
and then you can and one thing I would recommend is learn a little bit about run-on sentences. So run-on sentences are sentences that have no punctuation and they go on and on and on. Like sometimes you have a whole page and it's all one sentence.
Oh my goodness.
And English doesn't do that. So run-on sentences is a rule that we often study in school. So look into it. That way you can write be more concise, more direct, more precise of what you're writing, and also look into how punctuations are used. And by writing it down, and then you can read it to yourself, and then see like, am I writing as if I'm writing in Portuguese? Because if that's what you're doing, then you're just basically translating a text, and that doesn't always work, especially if you do it exactly the way you say it in Portuguese. Okay, so it's a good way for you to move things around, edit your own text, and see if I put this word, maybe I can replace it. Look for synonyms and replace words if
Synonyms.
they
That's
sound a
nice.
little clunky.
Yeah.
I always look for
Uh
synonyms.
huh.
I hate having the same word, uh, similar words in the same sentence. So looking for synonyms really
Yeah.
help you
Even in
write better.
Portuguese.
Okay,
Whenever I'm
even in
writing anything,
Portuguese.
I look for synonyms because I want to sound more clever. I don't know.
Exactly, that's it. You want to sound more clever. You want to sound more concise, and it's funny. I usually can tell if the writer is a Portuguese speaker because I can almost translate the words that they wrote because it's very similar as if they were writing in Portuguese. So there is
Yeah.
a difference, and the only way you can learn is by practicing.
Yeah.
That's the only way. If you don't write it, you're not going to improve.
Mm.
If you don't speak, you're not going to improve. And I think as teachers, we're really good at telling our students what to do, but we don't we don't take
Yes.
our own advice.
Oh my
We don't
goodness.
take
We
our own
don't
advice
take our own
and do what we
advice.
tell them. We
Yeah.
give them all these chronogramas de estudos, and
Yes.
then we don't even have our own routine.
Yeah.
You know, we're so busy preparing for classes that we forget to, focus on ourselves. So, and all these things are not, I'm not telling you to spend hours and hours a day studying 3 pages. You can read 3 pages in probably under 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then do the other exercises. So maybe like 15, 20 minutes a day, you can start, working on one thing, the writing today, the speaking tomorrow, the
Yeah.
grammar, the next day. Little by little, you can really, do the improvement. And so really, we need to diversify
How about
how.
correction?
Mhm.
Correction from our writing. How are we going to be corrected? Because we make a lot of mistakes. How how do
Yeah.
we how are we corrected? What is the best
So
way?
so there's a couple of resources that if you don't have somebody to correct it for you, there's some resources that I often, tell students about too. There is Grammarly. You can always copy and paste your text into Grammarly, and it will correct like spellings and certain simple grammar. It's not gonna get into it too much. And the cool thing about Grammarly even explains like, the subject agreement is incorrect, or you should have used put an s after the verb because you're talking about a she, little things like that. So you will correct minor things. And there's also the website, I think it's from Cambridge, Write and Improve. So that's
Mm,
another one that you can go to. Let me write it.
yeah.
uh,
Write and improve.
Write
Yeah.
and Improve, Grammarly. And another cool resource to download books is Z Library, which I showed you.
Yes, that's
And it's
amazing.
completely legal. Like everybody's like, is that a legal thing? Yes, it's actually monitored by the state
California.
of California,
California.
and you can download almost any book you can think of. And I think they're even working on other languages. I've been able to find a book in Portuguese here and there, Spanish.
You have.
So you can download books that way. So it's an awesome resource to improve your English for free, just downloading, a book.
Yeah.
So the corrections, that's what I would do. I would use Grammarly, use Write and Improve, so that you can. And the cool thing about Write and Improve, it gives you tips right then and there, after you
Yes.
submit your writing. So it's really awesome to work on.
And maybe having someone just to correct your writing would be great as well. To,
Yes,
to just
yes,
read with you
yes,
what you
definitely.
wrote. Even reading the second or third time, you'll find yourself. You will find
Yes,
the mistakes you've made.
exactly.
And having someone
It's
else like you, Millie, you will be able to find structures that don't sound familiar uh, in English, because we kind of tend to translate. That's normal because our first language is our first language, and but
Yep.
that doesn't sound normal in English, and we have to have that because Grammarly and Write and Improve won't be able to pick on those because they just find the writing different, and well they yeah, you know, because having
Yeah.
someone from the United States or someone who have a little bit more experience than we have might be able to pick on those sentences that don't sound familiar at all.
That is so true. And like you said, even on our own, we can pick up a few things. But and if someone doesn't have the opportunity of having someone look over their written essays, in order to correct, they shouldn't stop writing though. The practice itself is always going to help until you find someone, and then you can, hey, can you take a look at this and give me some feedback? I'm actually working with a student, that is doing a writing class in the United States. So she's having trouble with it. English is her second language. So we've been working on that. So it's really interesting to see the thesis and everything that the college is requiring of her. If she had practiced before, she probably would have had less of a hard time.
Less of a
It's
hard
probably
time,
it
definitely,
probably would have been a lot easier
for
for
sure.
her right now if she had practiced some of that, writing. So it's even if it's a diary, like take notes, make a to-do list or something.
Uh-huh.
I do everything in English. I think faster in English, but that's because I do it every day and I do it 80% of my day. I basically speak Portuguese with family members. My whole day is usually in English because both my kids and my husband, we're all fluent. So it does make it easier. But there's so many ways to improve. And another thing I wanted to point out is diversify what you're studying. I hear a lot of people, especially students, say, "So, what's your connection to English? What do you do on a daily basis?" "Oh, I watch series." That's awesome. That is
Okay, that's
great.
something.
What else? Oh, yeah, I just
Oh,
watch series. Just
maybe
watching
listen to
series is
music.
not. It's
Yeah,
not. And listen to music.
yeah,
Exactly. All you do is working on your listening. You're not working on your speaking. You're not working on your writing. You're
yeah.
not working on a vocabulary sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the discipline to write a new word that unless you have those really amazing memories that you remember
Yeah.
something from hearing, which I do not. I
No.
need to write it down.
Me too.
Then it's not really studying, it's entertainment. So we have to understand we do things in English for entertainment. I watch series all the time, but then we also need to focus on when we don't do it for entertainment, but we do it for our studies. So it's important to diversify and work with all the skills that we have, that we should have as teachers in order to help our students. So it's when you're watching and watching series, also look for things that are modern. I think that there's so much you can learn with a series or a movie, because they have that modern English. Okay. And
Yeah.
the reason why I say that is
Modern
because
English.
things
That's
become
right.
old.
Yeah.
When I went to Brazil, no, sorry, when I went to the United States, when I was like a teenager, I remember that there was a popular saying, "Nossa, viajou na maionese." And a bunch of people would say that. If I say that today,
No.
the younger people are gonna look at me like, "Ooh, how old are you?" So
Oh my
we
goodness.
have to update our words.
Vocabulary.
We
Yeah.
have to update our vocabulary, and things change, and certain phrases become generational. So we have to make sure that we're not watching the same thing we watched 10 years ago. We gotta,
Yeah.
you know, diversify. So diversify is really important, that we're looking for different ways to improve.
Yeah. Even idioms that were used in the past. Maybe we learned idioms like it's running cats and dogs. I think that's not even spoken, is it? Because it sounds so old. I mean,
Yeah, it's nowadays it's you hear it, but it's usually older people that will say it. It's not as common, but and I think it's a more of a British idiom too.
yeah.
So then you have that, like, which one is American, which one is
Uh
British. So
huh.
it gets a little bit confusing. But it's yeah,
Even
raining
phrasal
cats and
verbs
dogs,
as
and I
well, Millie, right? Because
phrasal
they
verbs as
invent
well.
phrasal verbs all the time. They make up
Yeah.
phrasal verbs all the time. They make up.
All the time, and it's so many. It's like over 10,000. The other day I did like a quick
10,000.
reels about learning phrasal verbs. It's very difficult. It's
It
not
is.
easy.
Uh huh.
And then I think we usually study, like, let's get a verb. I'm gonna get the
Uh
verb
huh.
get. Let me study
Oh
everything
my
that's with get,
goodness,
but
that's.
none of them,
Uh
they're not
huh.
similar. So
They're not
you're like,
related. Uh huh.
exactly, do it by topic or do it by the prepositions.
By
Usually they
reading,
have some
like
connections.
you read the book and you find something over there, and you just keep the movement. I mean, don't just break it down. I mean, sometimes we tend to, now I'm going to train my listening, and then you go and
Right.
listen to some music, and then you go,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to improve my writing, and then you might get a subject and do the everything and learn and improve everything at the same time. Not only that specific skill. Sometimes,
Right.
like you're saying, pick a book, and then do what is it called? Just a summary from the pages
Mm-hmm.
you've read, and then record it. Now you have three things. You've improved three skills by just doing something that's connected. That's
Right.
even when we are teaching English, sometimes we tend to, now we're going to learn this and that. It doesn't work on that. I mean, it can work. It's a little harder, but when topics are related, and when you get something in and you repeat that something into various forms, now you find yourself learning a little bit easier because you remember better because you've read it, you've done a summary, you've
Right.
you've written it down, you've done everything, and now
Mm-hmm.
it sounds easier. You remember a little bit more.
Exactly. Yeah. I think a couple people are saying they can hear me. Can you guys hear me now? I think it was the position of the phone. Maybe my voice wasn't coming out.
On
I think they hear me a
Instagram.
while on YouTube, but I'm probably not on. Um,
Yeah, they said they can't listen to you, they can't hear you. Well,
yeah, my
I hear you
mic is
well,
on.
and it's on Instagram as well. I can hear you both
Okay,
ways.
then it's
Yeah,
probably
maybe it's
something
something.
else.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe because I wasn't speaking out. Lais was talking. Maybe. All
And on
right.
Instagram, it's like that. Whenever I'm talking and I'm the host, my voice becomes louder. And whenever you are
Yeah.
talking, the guest is talking, it is not that much louder.
Gotcha.
Sometimes,
All
yeah,
right.
on Instagram
Cool.
that happens.
So I'll just hold the phone because the phone was a little bit behind my
Yeah.
computer, so maybe
It's okay.
the
The
voice.
position, yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah,
okay though. I think on YouTube is better.
yeah,
If you want to listen and to see what we're writing, go to YouTube. It's going to be a little an experience. That's going to be a better experience for you.
gotcha. All right.
Especially
So
if
I'm
you're
trying to
listening
like
something.
focus on both. But yeah, that's exactly right, Lais. It's and like I said, it's not, there's no magic pill. It takes work. It takes work for us to improve also, but it's so important. We gotta be able not only to give great classes and great lessons to our students, but we owe it to them to be fluent, to speak well, to write well, to be able to correct them and correct them well, by by knowing our part, doing our part as teachers and as learners. Where it's a constant learning
It
experience.
is.
We all learn. I learn English every day. Every day we, between my husband and my daughter, we're always like, hey, how would you say this? How would you say that? Is this, I wonder if this is okay. Let's Google, let's make sure, let's find out. It's a constant learning experience. So we're not dictionaries, we're not books. We got to learn.
Yeah, definitely. How about listening? How are we going to put the listening skill in that one thing that we're talking about?
So listening, I think listening is probably one of the easier ones because there's so much out there that we could do in order to practice our listening. But like I said, you can't do it for entertainment. If you're just watching a show for the sake of watching a show, then you're having fun with your family watching a show. If you are going to work on your listening, you got to be deliberate. You got to
Deliberate.
focus the study on the listening. So pick something challenging. Maybe don't put captions all the time so that you're not reading everything that is being said. Work with songs. Songs are really great for you to, because a lot of times we like, oh, I love that song, but we have no idea what they're talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
go, listen to it a couple of times, then go read the lyrics, then dissect the lyrics, make sure that you understand the lyrics, and then maybe try singing it back. So listening and speaking, they really go hand in hand. If you can't hear things well, you're not going to be able to imitate it well.
Yes.
So the listening and hearing go hand in hand. So you got to work on both because listening is one thing, hearing is another. Okay, I can hear
Mm-hmm.
someone screaming, but am I really listening to the intent of learning? Listening is deeper, hearing is just a noise.
Wow. Well said. Yeah, but how are you going to put the listening in that? I mean, in that same thing, because I don't want to diverse the skills. I don't want to learn it separately. Separately. How would I say that?
Separate, separately.
Separately. Separately. There we go.
You did good.
Yeah.
There you go. You did good.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. You got it right. Yeah.
Yeah, so with the listening, it's similar to the reading, right? Take the time to listen to something and make sure that you're understanding it, right? With the listening, you can also work on vocabulary. You can do the shadowing and you can do the imitation with the listening because that helps you understand, did I really understand what they're saying? Am I able to imitate what they're saying? So that's when you know that your listening is in tune with it. Okay, it's kind
Cool.
of like
In tune.
music. You gotta,
Very
the
nice.
more you the more you listen to it, the more you get used to it, the more you hear the deeper sounds.
The
Okay,
deeper
and
sounds. Very nice.
yeah, and learn more about the way that the English language is usually deeper. Like when I speak English, it's in my chest. You work with your throat a lot more, right? And when you're speaking Portuguese, it's more in the nasal
Nasal.
cavity.
Yeah.
So can you hear that when somebody's speaking? Hear when they are making a phrase. Where did they emphasize the word? What word did they emphasize? What syllable did they emphasize? Where did they stress it?
Mm-hmm.
That is helpful for you
Wow.
to hear the flow, to hear the connected speech. How did they shorten
The
something?
flow,
Instead
the
of,
rhythm, the
say,
pace.
instead of saying, how are you say, how are you?
Are
Where
you?
do they shorten it? And
Yeah.
that's where the
Are you?
connected speech is so important to work on the language skills. And it all starts with the hearing. It all
Yeah.
starts with the listening and working, and take the time to be in a quiet place. Like I said, everything you have to do has to be deliberate. You have to be
Mm.
focused on doing that, and
Nice.
not doing a million things, playing with your child next to you, and you trying to do a listening
No, it's not going
session.
to
It's
work.
not gonna
Yeah.
work. It's not gonna work.
How about we listen to an audiobook? Maybe we choose a book that has audio as well. A lot of books has, even for free. There's what is it? What is it? The name of the website? There's this website that gives for free a lot of audiobooks. You might choose one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
No.
gotta find that one now, because I think
Um.
audiobooks are great, because
Yeah.
not
I'm going
only are
to.
your focus is different when you do an audiobook. So it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
awesome for your
So,
brain too.
maybe you listen the audio and then you read and then you write and then you speak what you've wrote, what you've written.
Exactly. Yep. That's it.
That's just perfect. You choose a book. It's just going to work really well for you, and you're going to improve a
Mm-hmm.
lot if you do that. Like as you said, maybe you today you do the listening part. You listen to the 10 pages or 5 pages you've set up to, and then the next day you read. You read the same thing you listened to the other day, and then
Mm-hmm.
the next day you write it down. You write a summary of what you've listened and read, and
Right.
then you record the next day. You record what you written the other day, and then the other day you just have someone to correct your writing, and then you have
Exactly.
everything. It's
Yeah.
like let's set 15 minutes a day. You might do this like every day from a little bit every day, maybe
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes a day. It's going to
Yeah.
make a major difference. Major difference. Can I say that?
Mm-hmm. Major difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to
Perfect.
make a
Perfectly
major
said.
difference on your skills. You're going to improve a lot by just doing that. You even can help your intermediate students by giving that structure for them to also. Maybe you can do it with them
Mm-hmm.
to challenge yourself. Like you choose a book, you pick a lot of intermediate students, and then you do the listening together, 15 minutes a day, maybe from 5 a.m. to 5:15, like people from YouTube are doing. But just
Yeah.
kidding. Maybe you just have someone to challenge you. Maybe another teacher may go with you. Like make partnerships
Exactly.
and
And
choose
that.
that. Yeah, that's just perfect. Just amazing.
Mm-hmm. And so many teachers, they work in schools and they know other teachers too, right?
Yeah.
Why do we speak anything else other than English? We should be talking in English the whole time.
Yes. Because
Use
you're
that
afraid.
moment to, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it's really unfortunate. And I've,
Yeah.
met some students and some teachers too that have been made fun of, and it is really
Yeah.
disheartening to see that happening. But just
It's discouraging.
those are bullies. Those are people that just they are projecting what they feel to you. So it's not about you, it's about them. Whenever people make fun of you, it's never about you, it's about them. It's how they feel. So I would just ignore it and go for it, because in the future, there are many doors that could be open, and you're going to need the English. You're going to need that practice. So it's really important to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And we have a saying in Portuguese that o mundo dá voltas, right? Is there a saying in English as well? Because o mundo dá voltas, maybe you're not as good as you want to be today, but if you do this for a year, you'll be a lot better than the people that are better than you today. So everything changes.
Exactly. We're all very close to a major change in our life. It's usually the small things that we do that make a big difference. So invest in yourself and invest in your skills, because that's really gonna differentiate you
That's
from
right.
other people. So it's really important. And that's one of the reasons too that we've been, I really wanted to have groups with teachers, because I know that some have the opportunity to speak and some don't. So it's important to be always learning and practicing the English with other teachers. And
Yes.
usually my husband and I, we do it together. So he pays more attention to what they're saying and the pronunciation, so he helps them with that. And then I just focus on the topic and guiding it. So it's really helpful to hear the improvement. Like even with you, right? We've been like,
Yeah.
talking for a little while. You feel more confident because you can only speak more confidently when you practice.
Definitely.
And that's the thing. And don't wor- and I always tell students, don't worry so much about the accuracy. Have the fluency first. Speak. If you're going to make a mistake, make a mistake. Say it wrong. Don't worry about the accuracy. The accuracy will come later, but speak. So there are many students that for in the beginning, I don't correct them. I let them talk. They tell me stories, they gossip, whatever they want to talk,
Big
let them
gossip.
talk. And then little by little, you go correcting it,
Yeah.
but having that feeling of flowing and speaking quickly instead of like every word, and
Yes,
those
bumping.
pauses, flow first and
Stumbling.
then
Yeah.
worry about, are you doing it right? It's
Exactly.
easier to correct afterwards.
Yeah. Wow, that was awesome, Millie. A lot of tips. It's amazing. You just if you go for a book, there's no. I mean, reading, listening, writing, speaking. They're all there. You just
Yep,
and the books have a
it's all
lot
there.
to teach us, right? The books are a
Mm-hmm.
lifetime of knowledge written in that in those
Mm-hmm.
pages. So I really um,
Yeah.
that was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to do
Ah,
it. Yeah,
thanks.
I'm going to do what you've taught us to do, what you've
Mm-hmm.
said, because that's just something we can do with 15 minutes a day, and it's going to make a massive change in our English for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Yeah.
as you said, we're working on our skills. We're progressing. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing something every day, and we have this input as well. Because most of the teachers in Brazil, I think what's lacking the most is the input. Because even if when we're watching a series in English or a movie, it's all, even if it's in English, there are captions, because not everybody from your house speaks English. Most of them don't. Even here in my house, it's only me, so I'm not watching without the captions, and so it's hard to really get the input that's in there, because we read it not willingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
We read it.
Exactly.
And I can't just listen to what's there without reading. It's just automatic. It's automatic.
Yeah.
There, I got it.
It is. I've done that too, like when looking
Oh
in Portuguese,
goodness, it's just
and
there.
then I start getting confused.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, which language do I follow? So
It's
yeah.
So the input as well. If you're reading a
Mm-hmm.
book, you're going to have the contact with the language a lot more than if you
Yes.
just listen to music and
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
Very nice. Millie, thank you very much. Let's see if we have questions. Are there questions? Much better sound and video quality. Wonderful life para quem quer ser professor de inglês, outro idioma não tem experiência. Seguir e inserir o mercado de credibilidade. Para quem quer ser um professor de inglês ou de outro idioma e não tem experiência nenhuma, qual o caminho a seguir para se inserir no mercado e ter credibilidade para dar aulas? What would you say, Millie?
I, I believe that you have to have a good, you really have to know the language well.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's the
how
first
well do
thing.
you know, right? So be an expert yourself. And then just start, practice, get people, even family members, get people that you can practice with and see how it flows, see how it goes. I think there's a lot of people that are just natural teachers. It's very
That's
natural
right.
for them to teach, and some people that have to work on maybe read up on methodologies and best ways to teach. Even in corporations, you can find a lot of training information on how to train adults, how to teach kids. See what you like the most, see what you're more comfortable with, and then start spreading it, and have a good method that you follow. Like Lais has books that she works with, so that's something that helps you. That way you're not creating classes from scratch. So
Yeah,
there's a lot out there that you just prepare yourself first.
prepare yourself.
And
That's
and
right.
and 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 I would do some trial and error, do some, get some people that and even if you charge them a little bit less, and start teaching them and
Yes.
see how well they improve and how much they learn.
Mm-hmm.
Results is everything.
Yeah,
You got to have the results.
exactly. Well done. Uh, there are There's to make the teacher's language more challenging. Should I include more phrasal verbs, linking words? One of my decanced. What's that? I want my lessons to be more challenging. Maybe, yeah.
So yeah, no, the challenging vocabulary. You can search different vocabulary even online, or having a good book with vocabulary. There's the Z library that I mentioned. You can download a lot of resources
Advanced.
there that have more challenging vocabulary. I think you and I have seen some, right,
Yeah.
Lais, that we were looking at, that has pictures and that has explanations. Phrasal verbs are super necessary because nowadays, I think out of 100 words that I say, probably 30 to 40% of them are phrasal verbs. It's just the way the language goes.
Yes.
But look for challenging vocabulary. Even Cambridge has, for the advanced levels, you can see some vocabulary there. Learn it and be able to teach it. But definitely, so that's one of the goals with the teachers that we have the conversation classes with, is always to have a different vocabulary. For example, a lot of, I see that we are usually stuck with one word, like one verb, and we use that verb for everything. Like I said, hear and listen. Usually we talk about listen, but we forget about hearing. And there's like slightly different, or speak. And Gosh, I can think of the word now. I think someone even put it on the chat, and I thought, that's not the correct word to use. It We should use something else, but I can think of it now. But there's, just look for different ways, synonyms. Learn synonyms of words, because when you have a high vocabulary, you don't keep using the same words over and over again. So that's one way to help your students improve, is to read something with them and then go to the words that they don't understand. I actually pulled an article from the Wall Street Journal, I think, yesterday, and I was reading with two of my students. They're actually teenagers, and it was all about Facebook. So there was a lot of words there they didn't know, and I had trouble explaining them. I had to go and look for the definition. So resources are endless. The internet is so full, and the great thing is English. There's so much more in English than any other language, so it's
Yes.
awesome to look for resources with for vocabulary.
Nice,
Does it make
nice.
sense?
Sure, it does. I I wouldn't choose that path though. I would choose to read a regular book and look for phrasal verbs over there. I don't like those specific books for phrasal verbs because, as you say, it's just out of context. You're not.
Yeah,
It's hard
that's
to
true.
really sink in. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
To,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
the, so
Yeah. The context of the
yeah.
phrasal verbs is the key. Like if you don't put it into context and have them use it, they will forget it. It's in English we say use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it. Very nice. Sobre o reading, pode ser qualquer coisa que a gente quiser ou você recomenda algo específico?
Pode ser qualquer coisa, mas que seja challenging. Não vai,
Yeah.
don't pick like a children's book to read unless you feel that that's where you need to start. But
Yeah.
get something challenging, get something that you're gonna learn different things, different topics. So you definitely don't want to make it easy. Make it where you see a bunch of words and you have to go look for the definition of it. That's when I read. I'm constantly I read a lot on my phone, so I just hit on tap the word, and then it shows the definition, and I'm like, oh, interesting.
Nice.
Oh, now I learned that, and let me see how I can use it. Let me put it into a phrase. Let me look for more phrases to make sure I understand how to put it into use. So, just as long as it's challenging. But I prefer reading novels. Like, don't give me a self-help book. It will
Really?
kill me.
I
It
like it.
bores me to death.
Of course, me too.
I have to work on discipline when it comes to that. But a novel, oh, I get into the story and I love the descriptions and
Yeah,
I
novel.
imagine in my mind what's going on. So that to me, it touches me more than a self-help book.
Okay. And I like those. I like self-improving books. Like not self-help because that just sounds like you're desperate. I don't know. Maybe those books that help you like how to. There are lots of books on that. Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Like
like him.
motivational books. Those are
Motivational,
more like
yeah, yeah.
motivational. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's good to see those, and he does awesome stuff. I rather listen to him than read his books, because he's very motivating and he's very awesome
his
with that.
voice.
But yeah, so
Uh-huh.
there's lots of good books out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah,
choose something
I
that's
rather read
empowering.
like a romance.
A romance. Yeah. A novel is so involving. All the book is involving. You want to know the story. You want to go through it. It's different.
Yeah,
Definitely, it's
yeah.
just different.
And it's really like, and it helps you imagine, use your
Yeah.
creativity, right? Like, what is the writer saying? Oh, they're in this
Uh huh.
white snow is falling on the floor, and then you can imagine the snow. I
Yeah.
just like the picturing what is being written, so I
That's
enjoyed
nice.
that more.
Yeah. Very nice.
But like my husband, he prefers reading, what's it called, articles. He rather read
Really?
things, articles and news articles, and then he goes into different things
Oh,
and
nice.
get deeper into it. He prefers that. I, on the other hand, prefer novels. So
Okay.
do what you got to do.
Yeah. Do what's challenging. Nice phrasal
Exactly.
books. Yeah. My students love it. Okay. Someone is saying my phrasal verbs book is perfect. Thank you. Okay. Is there any other question you want to ask us? You might use Instagram or YouTube. We are live on both channels. Let's see. Well, nobody's asking anything. I think we're done.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you,
was
Lais, for the
53.
opportunity.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Please
Thank you.
do your jabá, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for everybody that joined or that will listen to it later. I think you're recording it, right?
Yeah, I
So
am.
is it going to
Uh-huh.
be available?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and if anybody wants to reach out and ask any questions or resources, I think, Lais, you just got to find the name for that one that you can download audiobooks.
Yeah,
That one I don't
I'll
know the
yeah,
name. So
I'll look for it and I'll
once
post on Instagram. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Awesome. So, if any teachers want to reach out, we have some groups that we do conversations for teachers, and we're actually working on a pronunciation workshop
Very nice.
or course, whatever you want to call it. Also, a writing one. We're working towards
Very
a writing one
good. That's
also,
perfect.
because I think it would be really helpful, especially for those that want to take tests and get all those certifications, which I don't even know the names of, but writing is very helpful
It is.
with that. And we're also doing a study group for like beginners that we're working on finishing it up, and then we're gonna launch soon. So
Cool.
yeah, so we're here to help, and if anybody wants to join us, just let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram.
Very nice. So please do that. If you want to improve as a teacher, don't miss Millie's class for teachers, conversation classes, especially for you as a teacher, to improve your pronunciation, especially because pronunciation is the hardest thing to improve by yourself. Even if you hear the computer saying, even if you understand what you're saying wrong, it's hard to change because you really need someone to model. So Millie is there and her husband as well. They're perfect for you. It's not expensive at all. It's very affordable. Can I say that? Very affordable?
You got it.
Thank you.
Yep. See, you're using big words.
Yeah, see, I'm getting
Yeah.
better. It's coming back to me
Uh-huh.
because I've been a long time not. I've been like 5 years or something that I haven't
Yeah.
spoken English. So
Yeah.
it's coming back.
You're
Anyway, so it's
good.
affordable and please don't miss it. I would
All
love
right.
I would love the conversation class for teachers, but don't fit my time. Millie's opening up more classes, aren't you, Millie? More.
Yeah. So yeah, reach out to me and let me
Yeah.
know what works for you. And then I can see I had a couple of teachers asking me for like a morning one. Um, but yeah, it's hard to fit everyone's time. But I
Yeah.
think we're trying to open two more groups that are going
Two
to be in
groups.
different times so
Awesome.
that people can participate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Millie. Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone that watched. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, a nice week as well, and God bless you. God bless you, Millie. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Have a good day, guys.
You too. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.